I'm going to talk about Michelle W. for a moment here, if I may. It's a woman I saw between January, March of 2010. I met her online. She was married, but I wasn't quite aware how married. I knew she was married, but they weren't really together, to a guy named Kevin. Anyway, I met Michelle W. I definitely was a seducee. I have no question about that. I seduced her. But anyway, we were seeing each other for a couple months. Everything was fine. Around Valentine's Day of 2010, she started having doubts. She went to her parents on Valentine's Day, or at least that's the story I got. She came back and started seeing me again. Her husband, she had gone, around the time I first met her, well, I had been intimate with her prior to this, but at any rate, she had gone to Niagara Falls with her husband, and apparently her husband's boss kept coming on to her at the hotel. Her husband just stood there laughing about it, and I think that was kind of a straw that broke the proverbial camel's back in her mind. Which perhaps it wasn't. I don't really know. Like I said, we had already been intimate prior to this, so I mean, she was married and on a dating site, so she pretty much had it in her head she wanted out of this marriage at that point. At any rate, I guess Kevin found out about us. I got a phone call one day in early February, I think at like 6 o'clock in the morning, then an apology from Michelle an hour later. So that indicated to me she was a little more married than she had let on initially, but I knew she was still in the matrimonial home and everything. At any rate, that's around the time she started having doubts about us. She came back after that, though, kept seeing me for a while. Apparently Kevin had stopped letting her use the internet at her house, and he was hurting her pets. I don't know what he did to them. He hurt one of the cats or something. The dogs, I'm not too sure, but at any rate, he kept disconnecting the internet on her, so I was helping her and her kids look for a home. She wasn't sure if she wanted to rent or buy. She was looking for a place from her work and here using my computer. Her kids came over here on a couple of occasions. We all went out looking at houses together, actually. Anyway, she found a place on Paramount Drive. She either sent me the link herself from her office, or she found the apartment on my computer. I'm not sure which is which. But at any rate, I was the one helping her find places because her pissed off husband kept disconnecting the internet on her. So anyway, it's early March, or at some point in March, and I get a message from her, oh, it's a beautiful day outside, I'll call you in 5 minutes. And I never heard anything from the woman again. So, I remember a story she told me about when she was a kid, how she got abducted or something for like a week, and some guy took her somewhere, and she'd never talked to police about it, and that her sister was the only one who knew, and her dad, she said, but her dad didn't know everything, and she kind of blamed him for it. She said she didn't know why she told me, other than the fact that she felt comfortable talking to me. She had never told either of her past husbands. So anyway, back to that story. When she vanished, I waited a day or two, and then I wrote her sister, just trying to find out, this woman's still married. She had a husband that just found out she was having an affair, so I had to make sure she was okay. So I wrote her sister to ask. I was concerned about this story she told me as a child, so I brought it up to her sister. Well, she told me her sister knew everything, so in retrospect, it was brought up to her sister as to not betray her trust. It was more or less just concern for her well-being. And I wanted to make sure that her husband didn't do anything. She had already told me he hurt the animals, and he had confirmed she was having an affair, even though she says he was doing the same thing. At any rate, her sister told me she was okay. but it didn't really, I don't know, like she responded to me a bit, and then she just kind of blocked me for no real reason, really. But at any rate, the police came a couple of times to ask me to stop contacting Michelle. The first time they came, they told me not to contact her. I'm like, well, I still kind of need answers here, She just kind of up and vanished. Of course, I'm concerned. The last words I heard from her were, it's a nice day outside. I'll call you in 5 minutes. So we had plans to do something that weekend. We were going to look for places again or something to that effect. I can't remember. Or no, I had to go see about a different place. That was it. And she was going to babysit for me. But at any rate, she kind of off track here now. Anyway, she clearly didn't want to hear from me and had no intention of ever giving me a reason. So I ended up getting charged by the police with harassment because I kept sending her emails wanting to find out about, well, why she vanished. So said something in her statement about me finding her new address by stalking her, because in one message I made emphasis on the fact that I wanted to go knock on her door to confront her. Alright, and then she made up some story about being terrified and stuff, and how I found her address by stalking her. It's like, I was helping her look for the place. She told me she was moving, where she was moving, and I'm like, I even had the ad bookmarked on my computer. I'm like, what a liar. At any rate, other than her lies, I did keep sending her emails after the police asked me not to, but that's the only part I own up to in it. I didn't really, just searching for answers. That would drive anybody crazy if they were seeing someone, then they haven't vanished like a fart in the wind, Of course you'd be concerned for them. That's all it was. If you don't want to see somebody, send them a message. I don't want to see you, or I can't see you, just vanish when everything's fine. So anyway, yeah, I'm charged with criminal harassment. There was a private charge laid as well. She didn't show up to the private charge. Judge was all too happy to throw that out of court. But anyway, the police had charged me with it as well. So I go to court on it. And because all the emails are included in the file, it looks like there's a lot, even though there isn't really. It's just basically rehashing the same thing over and over again. The only thing negative in the material was I found her new address by stalking her, which wasn't even true. I was helping her find new addresses. She told me where she was moving. So, given the fact that the only thing negative in the material wasn't even true, I don't know why I decided to plead guilty, but I did anyway, just because it said on the form that, if it went to trial, they would see probation, jail, and if it didn't go to trial, well, then they just went on probation. So I said, screw it. I'll just plead guilty because I didn't want to not go to court. I was hoping she wouldn't even show up at court and it would have just got thrown out. Anyway, she called up to court with some bullshit victim impact statement talking about how I'll never look at relationships the same way again. And in my opinion, given the fact that this was her second marriage, she decided to dissolve in the exact same manner via an affair. If you never look at relationships the exact same way again, Michelle, I propose that is a very good thing. I was a single person in it, not you. So yeah, I pled guilty to something I shouldn't even have pleaded guilty to. I wasn't even guilty of anything. I'm the victim in the situation. Mine's the one that was sitting there boggled saying, well, I'll call you in 5 minutes and then you vanish without reason. I still never ever got a reason. The only difference is I no longer cared. I met someone else and moved on. After the police asked me to stop contacting her. To be frank, I'm really surprised the charge stuck. I figured the judge would have seen that, but I guess the fact that I just pleaded guilty, she probably thought I felt I was guilty of everything, whereas it's not the case. I was only guilty of sending too many emails when I was asked not to. That is it. Nothing in the material she said was true. So, in essence, I kind of want a retrial. It's kind of ridiculous, to be frank. The one thing I did do, it's not like I went out of my way to do it. She left some items at my house I returned them to her office with a little note where she worked. No profanity or anything like that. But one of the items was a sex toy. I just handed the stuff to reception at her office, explaining who I was. I'm the guy that she had been having an affair with, and before she decided to vanish without giving me any reason whatsoever. And that's it. And signed my name to it. And it's not something I tried to hide. Like I said, I didn't even go out of my way to go to her office to drop it off. I was going that way anyway. And given her stance, Lord knows she would have probably tried to charge me with theft or something for holding on to her belongings had I not returned them. Because everything the woman said was so ridiculous. But in retrospect, despite the fact I never got closure of any kind, and I voluntarily pled guilty despite not feeling guilty and not being guilty of anything, she lied. But so other than those elements, I harbor no ill will towards Michelle W. I wish her luck. She's gonna need it. And that's it. I'm not, I accept my role in it. I knew she was married, so I was having a thing with a married woman that I thought would have went further than it did. But, I should have learned my lesson, given the fact that was her second marriage. She dissolved in such a manner, or tried to. So I guess, lesson learned. But no way am I guilty of anything, so despite pleading to it, guilty of sending someone to many emails. That's completely ridiculous. But it is what it is. That's my story about Michelle W. God love her. She's a nice woman. She's successful, just a little out of whack. She lies. She manipulates. What are you going to do? It's not unlike many women in this world, so, So that's what I'm going to focus on in these little videos. I'm going to clear the air on any issues surrounding any women I've had drama with. Nobody wants to hear about the good ones. This society is built around drama. That's what gets all the hits. That's what gets all the views. So despite the fact this will be one of my first YouTube videos, I didn't use any last name as to not slander anybody. So most people aren't going to know what in the hell I'm talking about. It's my life, and it's going to be in detail. My opinion, my words, in all relevant aspects. For the record, I'll note on the criminal charge, at least the judge had common sense enough to acknowledge my point of view, and saying regardless of a lack of notice to the parties. So I'm surprised the judge didn't throw it out. But like I said, maybe perhaps the judge thought that I actually did find her new address by stalking her, when that's not the case. So the judge was probably led a bit astray by Michelle's lies there as well. But nonetheless, it is what it is. I moved on. This is all water under the proverbial bridge. I've been in a relationship for almost a year by the time this even got to court. This stuff is so dated. But, I don't understand it. And that's why our courts are so backlogged with the most pointless bullshit ever. But, so anyway, that's my opinion on Michelle W. I'll make another video soon about other women who've caused drama. Peace.